In this video, I'm going to tell you all about the 12 Sins of Herakles, the new standalone campaign expansion for Aeon Trespass Odyssey. Hello everybody and welcome. My name is Peter Gifford and this is the Esoteric Order of Gamers. Today I'm going to talk about the 12 Sins of Herakles. It's the new stuff from the makers of Aeon Trespass Odyssey. It's a standalone set of campaigns. In fact, there are 12 main story campaigns, hundreds of hub adventures, new awakenings, new co-op actions and movement types, lots of new stuff. Now, I was very lucky because Into the Unknown Studio contacted me and said, would you like to check out this new expansion on Tabletop Simulator? I said, yes, please. And I'm going to do this little overview video of what it is and how it plays. Now, this is not a review. I'm just showing you what it's like and telling you about it. And I think you'll find it interesting, especially if you're thinking about backing either the second printing of Aeon Trespass Odyssey or just getting this expansion by itself to add to your existing stuff. Now, before I get started, I do want to tell you about my rules and reference sheets for Aeon Trespass Odyssey. As you've no doubt noticed, the game has a rule book of something like 80 pages. Well, I managed to summarise that all down to about 8 pages. And I haven't left any rules out whatsoever. So in fact, after you've read the rule book maybe once, you can use this from then on and you'll never have to refer to the rule book again. It also comes with a reference sheet for all the keywords, which is especially handy in the heat of battle. And there's sheets on each phase of the game so you can go through it. It's up to version 2 now. I've made it even more streamlined than the first version. And if you go to the link I'll put in the show notes, you can go and download it for free. So print it out, laminate it, stick it in the box, and you'll find playing the game a lot easier. And if you really find it useful, you'll find a little donation button on my website. Feel free to leave a little donation if you enjoy it a lot. And also I've got a Patreon channel if you want to support the further adventures of the Esoteric Order of Gamers, which has been going for over 10 years now. Now let's get on to the 12 Sins of Herakles. As I said, it's on Tabletop Simulator for review by people like me, and I fired up the program and checked it out. Now, of course, all of this is pre-release, so things may change, but this is the state of play as I know it at this point. To start with, we're no longer Argonauts travelling this dystopian ancient Greece in the Argo, the giant city ship. No, we're actually the bastard offspring of Herakles, or Hercules, as he's also known, the mythological hero. And in this case, we won't be controlling Titans. Well, we are controlling Titans. Well, we're actually transforming into Titans this time. We have the ability, no doubt from our heroic parentage, to transform ourselves into the 30-foot tall Titans that we know and love and that fight the primordials. So there's a few changes in this story and you'll be doing a lot of overland travel, and there are some changes to some of the mechanics which are quite interesting. But before I get started on that, of course, there's the story and voyage and adventure phase, all that kind of stuff. And as usual, the writing quality is excellent here. Let me give you a little example. This is the introductory paragraphs from the campaign adventure as given on Tabletop Simulator. And I think the writing is quite good, so I thought I'd share this bit. Childhood's end. Your father was a bastard. He says it calmly, looking you straight in the eyes over his smoked lenses, as if you didn't know. He has failed you, and you have every reason to hate him. I won't tell you not to, and I won't tell you you're wrong. I will tell you to get in line, because here's the thing. Your father failed a hell of a lot of people. Peoples. The corner of his mouth twitches. A thought crosses your mind. Who does he think he is, this weathered man in a worn, dappled robe, to walk into your village and talk to you as if he knows anything about you? He broke things, unleashed others. The sorry state of this world, that's on him too. So there's a lot of amends to be made, and he's not here to make them. Others tried, but, well, they were only mortal. Those were great bloody mistakes your father stumbled into. The weathered man takes a deep breath, adjusts his lenses, exhales with a whistling sound. They say, like father. I say, prove them wrong. Come with me. Let's see what can be fixed. And if I say no, you ask defiantly. Then you say no. The weathered man shrugs and stands up. Despite his years, his frame is impressive still. And I walk to the next polis over, where another abandoned woman sighed a similarly unruly child, a sibling you did not know about, a sibling who, like you, has not met their father and struggles with the same helpless anger that consumes you. Your father was a bastard. Have you not been listening? So, there you go. Pretty good stuff, actually. I really like the idea it's exploring of Heracles, this great hero, has left bastard children all over the place, and then they're all sort of gathering together in this adventure to get some kind of revenge against their father. And as you gather together, you'll become the oikos, which means family, and you'll be known as the Herakleides, the forsaken children of Heracles. So that's the basic premise of the game. This is a season box, so I think we can expect more of these in the future. And apparently there's about 150 hours playtime in this box. So this is what I got to see when I opened up Tabletop Simulator. And you start off with a battle, of course, as you did in the main game of Aeon Trespass Odyssey. It's the Nemean Lion Eater, this huge serpentine, horrible creature. And you can see straight away it has some interesting abilities. One is that it can swallow you, which is deeply unpleasant. And also, in this environment that you're fighting in, as you can see, there's a new playmat or play board. There's also areas of new terrain. So we've got high grass in this, and the Nemean lion can hide in this high grass. And also, if it's fully hidden in the grass, it's harder to hit. You get a +2 to its 2-hit number. And it has a nasty habit of running off and hiding in the high grass, even though it's a huge primordial. It must be very, very high grass. And it will either do that closest to the latest Titan that attacked it, or it will move as far away as possible in the grass from that latest Titan. So already there's a certain amount of chasing this thing around the board. Now we've got some brand new Titans, as you can see, and they look pretty impressive and quite feral, actually. One of them has got this amazing kind of shark headgear, which is incredible. They all look pretty nasty. So you actually transform into these Titans in this game, which is a little bit different. Like the first game, you're starting off with fists, though these are a little bit more powerful than the fists that you start with in the base game. And you'll also see that these new Titans start with 3 ability cards. So you get an ability straight away, and you can unlock further ones as you go along. So it does feel like there's a little bit more power here to start with for the Titans, which I think is great. It's not shown in this, but there are also new gear cards which have a hard trick ability, it's called. And that means basically they get equipped on a certain side of the card, and then if you fulfill conditions during the battle, you can flip them to the other side. And you may even find that they take up more hand slots, so you might have to discard something else to use the new version. So that varies the gear a little bit. Now, I sometimes find the combat a little bit fiddly, especially for one player who's controlling 4 Titans, if you're playing solo. But this one flowed quite nicely, and actually it was quite fun doing it on Tabletop Simulator because I didn't have to worry about all the table space and everything, and it was easy to access all the cards and that kind of thing. So it's quite a nice way of playing it. Now, of course, with this first battle, the Nemean Lion Eater is relatively weak. It doesn't have its swallow ability, and also when it goes running off into the high grass, it doesn't immediately turn to face the other Titan, so that makes it a bit easier to get behind it and get in an effective blow. But of course, as it goes up different levels, it very rapidly gets a lot nastier. After finishing the battle, I had a little taste of the exploration phase, and they have changed things a little bit here. You'll remember in the first game, when you drew cards from the exploration deck, you would draw in one stack until you got a stack end symbol, and then you'd start a second stack until you got a stack end symbol, and you resolved all those cards. In this case, when you're doing this predominantly overland travel, each tile that you move into will have a journey difficulty on the tile, a number, and you draw cards until you equal or exceed that number, and then you stop drawing the cards and resolve them. And another thing, you only resolve those matching the terrain type you're in. So there are now terrain types on these travel tiles, which makes things a bit more interesting. After the battle, as you know, you get resources which you can record on your sheet and later use to craft more gear cards. And things have changed quite a bit here. If you flip the primordial sheet, you'll see this very attractive new area on the card. Now, on the right of this is something called the Carcass Delve. And I love this idea. Basically, after you've killed the creature, you go delving into its carcass to get more resources. Of course, they're so huge, you could just get lost in there. What you do is, instead of just looking at the resources on the wound cards that you did during the battle, You actually shuffle all of the body part cards back into a deck, draw a certain number of them, and then you get those resources. However, you can wager one of those cards to roll on the carcass delve table. And if you succeed getting a number of results that you need on the power dice, you get to do things like redrawing one of the resource cards. However, you don't have to stop at one roll. You can push your luck and roll again and try and get the next level in the table and the advantage from that level. Of course, if you fail, you're not going to get any advantages at all, and you're going to lose that resource card you wagered. So there's definite fun push your luck element here. You can just see the designers of this game sitting in a studio, constantly coming up with new things to add to this game, thinking, wouldn't it be a great idea if? It's a system that's open to constant expansion. One thing I love that they've done here is that on the back of the primordial sheet, you also have a whole lot of options for particular gear items that you can buy with the resources that you just got and the resources you have left over from previous battles. And I really like this because instead of just going through a big deck of cards and it being dependent on the technologies that you've purchased and all that kind of thing, it's actually keyed to the primordial that you fought. So you can see you can get particular items from a particular primordial. I really like this idea. And of course, one of the things you can do in the tabletop simulator that you can't do in real life is just roughly throw your primordial miniature off the board when you've defeated it. You'd never do that with your precious miniature. So of course, this is just the tip of the iceberg. As I said, there's about 150 hours gameplay apparently in this box. It's going to be really interesting to see where the story goes from here. And I like the idea that they're setting off on a new adventure with new characters, new titans, new approach. If they just tacked on more adventures to the original game, I would have thought, oh yeah, that's great, but it's more of the same. I think it's really nice to have a whole new approach here and have this idea that you're the discarded offspring of the hero Herakles and that you're trying to probably find Herakles and go, Dad! I hope you've enjoyed this brief look at the 12 Sins of Herakles. Of course, I've got a review of the full game of Aeon Trespass Odyssey, and it's a pretty impressive package. It really is. There's so much here to enjoy. If you've got the time, because you will need a lot of time, it's a very, very immersive, huge campaign game. And if you love solo gaming, you'll be there for hundreds of hours playing it. If you're a little bit flighty like me and like to jump from game to game, you might find it's too much of a commitment. But I think that the imagination and inventiveness here is truly astonishing. And it's quite exciting to see it be such a success and for them to go on and make more and more content and of course go on to a second printing. So that's it for me. Be sure to check out some of my other videos. There's hundreds and hundreds of them to enjoy. And of course, when you go to my website and download the rules and reference that I've made for Aeon Trespass Odyssey, check out all the other ones on offer too, because there are over 420 of them at that website. I'm sure you'll find many that match the games in your collection. And don't forget to subscribe too. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.